This is how the top three are currently looking in the drivers' standings. Oscar still leads the pack with 346 points, but when we compare the points gap to 5 races ago, it tells a completely different story. Although the top three drivers remain in the same positions, it becomes clear to see that Max has been the overall winner in the latter stages of this season. He's managed to gain 119 points in the past 5 races, compared to Piastri's 62 points and Norris's 57. And this quick turnaround from Verstappen has led me to the question, does anyone actually know what they're talking about? In my time of watching Formula One, there's one thing that I found will always be true. We as fans are fickle, from your casual fan to experienced commentator. And I don't mean that as a bad thing. This is a fast-changing sport. But how can anyone really know who's going to take the championship in Abu Dhabi when we don't even know what's going to happen at the next race, considering that the top three are all so close together? Take this year as a prime example. At the start of the year, all eyes were fixed on the McLaren drivers. And as Piastri started to emerge as the more solid driver, a general consensus was developed that he would be the one to win the Drivers' Championship in 2025. He was starting to separate himself as the favourite. Bearing in mind that this opinion started to become mainstream before we had even reached the halfway point. But we as fans had decided that we'd already seen enough to know who would take the Drivers' Championship this year. Norris was clearly the second best driver in the team, and Verstappen wasn't even in the conversation, as it wouldn't be realistic that he would even get close enough to have a shot at the championship. However, when we fast forward to now, the final stages of this championship, Piastri is still leading his teammate by 14 points and Verstappen by a further 40 points. But the general opinion of who will win this championship seems to have done a 180. Piastri's calm and composed persona that seemingly allowed him to get ahead and lead the championship towards the start of the year has now supposedly disappeared, and he's starting to crack under the pressure, leaving the door open for Verstappen and Norris to steal the championship out of his hands at the final hurdle. Now, I don't think this opinion is completely unfounded. In fact, I would say it makes sense considering the dip in form that we've seen from Piastri over the past couple of races. Couple that with the uptick in performance that we've seen from Norris and Verstappen, it's easy to see how you can come to this conclusion. There's no denying that Piastri had the worst weekend of his Formula One career in Baku, and then followed this up with two substandard weekends in Singapore and Austin, where his teammate got the best of him on both occasions. But surely, out of a 24-race season, a driver is bound to have a few off weekends. Does that then mean they don't have what it takes to win the Drivers' Championship? Or can it be looked at within the context of a 24-race long season? Where do we draw the line between a driver just having a few bad weekends versus them completely losing form and crumbling under the pressure? To me, the obvious answer is that you look at it within the context of the whole season. If it starts to happen race after race, month after month, then it starts to make sense that they're probably feeling the pressure and no longer have what it takes to be champion. But the point I'm trying to make is not really about Piastri or Norris or Verstappen. It's more about the quick conclusions that we jump to based on the very limited information that we have in the moment. At the start of 2007, did anyone actually think Kimi Raikkonen was going to win the Drivers' Championship until he actually done it? Or who knew going into Abu Dhabi 2021 which driver would leave victorious? No one, including the drivers and the teams themselves. Whereas with this championship, we've created an environment where everything is a definite fact, regardless of whether it's true or not. One bad weekend now defines a driver's entire season, the same way a good weekend now means that a driver is the favourite to win the championship. Of course, this is hyperbolic, but I think whether we like to admit it or not, we tend to jump on the bandwagon of whatever is the popular opinion at the time. And part of the excitement of Formula One is how quickly things can change. But it feels as though this black and white approach to the sport, from online fandoms, unbiased commentary teams, has taken away the ability to look at a driver's performance or even the championship battle with any nuance. It's no longer an open battle that's anyone's to play for in the 5 remaining races. It's now become a championship that McLaren have fumbled regardless of what happens and have left it open for Verstappen to pick up and win. But I'm sure we'll have a new opinion to discuss next week about who will actually take the championship come Abu Dhabi.